Of course, followers of Bushiri and his wife are adamant the couple is innocent of all charges, that their arrest amounts to a spiritual warfare against the two. How is such devotion and fervent belief created? Let's discuss this now with psychologist Professor Saths Cooper, President of the Pan-African Psychology Union. Prof, thank you so much for joining us. How do you as a psychologist understand such incredible devotion that we've seen? Obviously there's a spiritual explanation. The faithful gathered there would say, these are good spiritual people and this is our faith in action. But from a psychologist's point of view, what do you see when you see those crowds of people who, despite some very serious allegations, have absolutely no doubt that this couple is blessed by God?
Well, look, first of all, I think we wouldn't be seeing this if we had a normal society. In any normal society, you wouldn't get that excessive public adulation and devotion to an individual. And this can take the form of religious, it can take the form of pop stars and political leaders. So in a sense, when there isn't the center holding, people are looking for meaning in their lives, and when their lives are impacted by so many negative things, they tend to look for some kind of salvation. So we can safely say that this is a cult. It's a system in which that leader is able to exert control over a group of people by the sheer power, the force of his personality, and is often portrayed as the direct link to the maker. It's a godlike figure. There's an exclusivity about it. There's also a certain secretive nature and a degree of authoritarianism. But the cult leaders, and in this instance, religious figures, share a number of psychological traits that actually describe what we in psychology would call a narcissistic personality disorder. Exhibits an ability to empathize with others, but there's an inflated sense of self-importance. So you can get into the issue that the other person has, but doesn't display that degree of caring for that individual and is more about themselves. And this, there's an excessive need for admiration, and there's a disregard for others' feelings, inability to handle criticism, and a sense of entitlement that emerges. I mean,
you're describing in a way, or maybe what we're seeing is that sort of that blind loyalty. It sounds like populism to a certain extent. I mean, if you think of how some of the populist leaders through history have been able to stir up a crowd, is it because they seem so completely certain in a world of uncertainty, and particularly at a time like this? Does that have a certain lure that whether it's a religious leader or a political leader, there's something really compelling about someone who is so certain about the right way and the way things should happen? Because the truth is, the world is not like that. The world is a mixture of shades of grey, isn't it?
Absolutely. But then, as I said, in a society where there's great uncertainty, the center is not holding, there's all sorts of issues people confront. There's no sense of normalcy. These persons emerge. We've had not only this particular individual, but we've had the notorious examples of others speaking in tongues, making people eat grass and all sorts of things. But it is exploitative in the extreme, and we know we're going into an election soon in the US, and that kind of figure who is all-powerful, who is going to just wave a magic wand and your problems will go away. There's a degree of arrogance about those persons, but they are very, very smart in how they go about manipulating our needs. So they sense there's a need for meaning. They sense there's a need for persons to feel wanted, persons to feel special, persons to feel that they're going to do well out there, and they, in a sense, have a hypnotic influence. And ordinary people will wonder, what the hell is going on here? Why does this person appeal to so many others, but not to me? So our own sense of reason and rationality gets suspended. And that's why people will pay obeisance. They will say, I will die for this person. We've seen it with political leaders. We've seen it with this leader. Figures, members standing up and saying, he can do no wrong. Now, what we mistake is that this person has put himself into the direct position of being the conduit to the maker. And therefore, they feel they have nothing else but this conduit to reach the hereafter and to make sense of their world now and to gain the riches that he is preaching about, because it is about material salvation. The Bible, the real tenets of the Bible, don't play a serious role, even though they can quote it at times of need. But really, this person is exploiting other people's vulnerabilities. And it's only the vulnerable who will fall for this. People in great need, people who have lost contact with what is going on in our in their lives and in society.
Thank you so much. That was really a fascinating view. President of the Pan-African Psychology Union, Professor Saths Cooper.